Hello and welcome to my channel on human design. Well, this week we seem to be dealing with questions that open us up to the idea of transcendence. Quite the opposite of what one thinks if one doesn't know about human design, that, we're all pigeonholed into a particular thing, but it's really about the living of it. So I'll let the viewers take us there with the first question from Elena. Here's a question. I'm a 1-3 Sacral Generator with the right angle cross of laws. It made me wonder about something I've never really heard anyone talk about. As someone who has lived with the right angle cross of laws for many years, what has been the biggest lesson this Incarnation Cross has taught you? This Incarnation Cross is often described as bringing order, improving systems, or creating structure. But I'm much more interested in what it's actually been like to live it. Has your understanding of the cross of laws changed over the years? Were there moments when you suddenly recognized, this is what my Incarnation Cross is really about? I'd love to hear your perspective, because I have a feeling that some things can only be understood through living the experiment, not by reading about them. Damn right. Okay, Elena. Well, I asked Ra to tell me something about the cross of laws that he hadn't written down anywhere. And after a few moments of silence, he simply said, well, you better make sure you've got some weight behind you. In other words, the laws have to be enforced. And the laws are located in the 50th gate. It's really the laws by which you would want to live by. Now, in my case, it's unconscious, so I've had to discover it as I've been living my life. You have it in an open center, so you've considered the different values and different lifestyles as you've gone through it. And hopefully you've found a aspect of the values that you are living by. So it's really about living by your laws that lead to the life that you are here to lead, basically. Both you and I are from the quarter of mutation, so the 60th gate is there. We're both 1-3s, so it's in the line of acceptance, and it's a very, very important line. All cross of laws will have the channel of mutation in them because it's in the sun and the earth. But this first line is about accepting the limitations in order to transcend them. If you can't accept the limitations, you're always fighting against it. You're stuck in the limitations. The limitations become your whole life. But if you accept that they're there, and whatever they are, you can test them, you'll test limits. You'll test the limits of the laws in society. Because after all, you're not someone who really plays by the rules, are you, Elena? You're not designed to. But you are here to find a way where it fits in with your life, your unique life. And in that sense, the living of it means to go through a deconditioning process like all of us have to. So when I started out with intellectual information, I had an idea, like you have an idea of what the cross of laws were about. I understood from Ra about the necessity to enforce them. But it wasn't really until I lived the design, and like you, I have an open solar plex. Like you, I have a completely open will center. So in that sense, I had to learn that my design was my design, and I'm here to live my life. And when I found myself being pulled into the emotional conditioning that I was receiving from people around me, and compromising and not living by my values, and allowing other people to come in, I had to strengthen my boundaries. I had to understand that in terms of me living my life, a lot of emotional energy, although it can be absolutely wonderful, is something that is quite disturbing in a way. It's elating, it's exciting, but it's also not something that I want to live in all the time. And I had to learn that. And I had to put my weight behind it. In other words, to live that, even if it's in contradiction to the way that most people live. I had to decondition from trying to prove myself all the time with that open will I had to understand the limits of me being able to know what I should charge for my services, because I simply don't know. I don't know what I'm worth at a financial level because of the open will. I had to learn that. I had to learn that ideas come and go, and fascinating though ideas and concepts can be, it's not somewhere that I want to live. To live my life, I have to live by following my energy. And you too, you're here to live according to your energy, according to where your energy rises towards something, when there's something new, you know, for you to get into a new order to live by. You know, when you're focused on something, because you have the full channel of the 52-9, the channel of concentration, you know, to live according to the focus, one thing at a time, but your energy is intense, you know, it needs to be involved in a focus, otherwise you get all depressed. Learning that, learning where the melancholy can come in, where the depression can come in, if you're not living correctly. You had to learn the limits of having an 1156 channel. So endless ideas pouring through you, you know, great fantasies, great philosophies, a great eye for being able to see the way things move and change, almost like a mythical mind. But if you try to live that inappropriate to your energy flow, it's not going to work. You have to learn that. So primarily, it's really about knowing your limits, testing them, accepting the ones that remain, and going on, taking that into account, moving with the people that you share similar values with, finding that out. Each cross of laws will be different depending on what's in the chart and also what the profile is. As a 1-3 profile, you will learn by trial and error. And when you make mistakes, it's going to cost you financially, among other things. But you'll be able to get back up again and keep on going, because that's the way you are, just as I am. So you've had to discover the limitations of having a 34 go into a 10-line 5. You know, power of the great going into heretical individual behavior. That's caused you a lot of hassle with people, I'm quite sure. And over time, you've learned about the practicality of that behavior. And you've also learned, hopefully, to know your place when you come into contact with other people, that you don't push them too much, that you begin to take in whatever it is that is there and see how you respond to it. All this is through experience. And as a 1-3, you are here to learn through the experience and to let the wisdom come in as it does, year in, year out. As the older you get, the more you understand, the more wisdom you have about who you are, and it will be reflected in the way that you live. That's how you know you've really got it. So yes, you're right. The living of it is what brings you the wisdom of what it's really all about. It cannot really be told to you by somebody else, even me that has it. We have different channels. But I've done my best here to give you an idea of what I mean. And hopefully that will be more than enough. Thank you for your question. And tied to this question, there's another question that taps into it from Helene. This is her question. I was talking to a friend the other day who is also into human design, and we were discussing why it's so rare to meet people who are open to human design and really get it. We also touched on the concept of 4%, the title of the upcoming film. Ra spoke about a 4% of 4% concept, suggesting that only 4% of people will ever encounter or discover human design. And of those, only 4% will actually be able to live and embody it. You mentioned the line 2 theme of being called out. For instance, gate 58, line 2, which is my Chiron return design sun. It came around at the time I encountered human design. And like you, I had a total epiphany that has never left me. In your experience, are there any other common indicators in human design charts that somebody is on the 4% or 4% of 4% fractal of people who have found human design and truly get it? Well, Hele, you've got a triple split design. You've got a logical mind that's looking for the answers, and there's a lot of logic in human design. It is a science after all, which is very lovely for those with logical minds, because it's like, hey, you know, you can get your detective brain in there and follow the patterns and you'll find they all fit. You've got a highly defined solar plex that's been adrenalized by the channel of recognition. So the excitement of being in human design with the logical system that you can feel into and find out from your emotional authority its accuracy, because it hits deep. And you know what that's like because you're also a transmitter. You know how to get the message across, even if you're not trying, you can't help it. So there's a lot in human design that would appeal to you. And it will also help you with issues that you may be dealing with in terms of health or whatever, with the knowledge of the biological correspondence. So it's useful as well. But can you tell in a chart whether someone is part of the 4% or the 4% of the 4%? No, you can't. Not that I know of. There can be no one characteristic or set of life forces that will say, this is the chosen one or one of the chosen ones. No, no. It depends if you can go into the experiment and live it and stay with it and understand that deconditioning takes time, and stay with it and stay with it. And bit by bit, you'll see the conditioning fall away until it becomes automatic that you have this understanding of lived experience in being who you are, that you're not going to go away from that easily. It becomes, once that opens up, you are already in a great position to know what the conditioning is going to be about. And once you begin to decondition from it and you stay on that course, it's not going to catch you anymore. So there will be this living of the life with less resistance. There will be this enjoying the life more because it fits you. It's you after all. You're living your life. So you want more of that, you know, and the more that you can allow that, the more you can love yourself in the sense of accepting who you are, you know, of understanding the triple splitness in you, for example. That there will always be this and then that and then this and this and that and this and that. It depends on the movement of your body through the auras of others or not. If you're on your own, the feeling of being split off, but not letting it bother you, understanding that it is the way that you operate. Embracing your design will bring you a completely different life. So you're not chasing after the things you were chasing after before. They become irrelevant. The truth cuts through it all. So to answer your question directly, I can't see that there can be any one component in a chart that would indicate you are going to really grow through this and come to yourself through this. But you can certainly see it in those people who stay with it. And you will see it in your own life if you stay with it. And that's really all the evidence you need. The transcendence from the conditioning is when you can live yourself no matter what the conditioning is, because you are aware of it and you're aware that it is different to you and that it is not you. And most importantly, that you don't make decisions based on conditioning. You make decisions, in your case, according to your emotional wave that's processed over time. You also become wiser in how you enter into something. It's so important to understand how you enter into something sets the whole way it's going to go. And you'll find yourself not entering into the kinds of things that you used to. So it's a gradual refinement process is what I would say. And it's ready for you to step back as the witness and watch it happen, rather than let the mind interfere at every stage and try to micromanage what you should and shouldn't do. All that has to be put to one side. And if that happens, there is every chance that you will be part of the 4% of the 4%. But it's completely up to you. And there are a lot of forces out there that won't want you to do that. And so understand you have to have dominion over your own life in order for all this to flower in the way that it really can. And then it's just an ongoing journey that's a damn sight better than the one we came from. Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for the question. Okay, well, that's all I have time for this week. I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you have, please like, share, and subscribe. And I shall be back again very soon with something completely different. See you then. Bye.